What's up, everyone? Welcome to the average gamer's perspective towards the TWID, also known as This Week in Destiny. So I'm here to give you the intermediate view of This Week in Destiny so that you can easily understand it as an average gamer. Okay? This Week in Destiny, we are getting ready for our next developer stream. These things take time, so we are also telling you all about one of the biggest systematic changes we are introducing in the Edge of Fate. It's a topic that you may not have heard about yet, so get ready for it. And for the rest of our weekly topics, of course, save the date, all dungeons and Rite of the Nine, introducing additive melee damage. Nice. Exotic armor tuning preview. Last call for the final shape Bungie rewards. Okay. Tune into our next developer stream. Join us on Tuesday, January 24th at 10 a.m. As we give an in-depth look at the Edge of Fate, we'll have the dev team on the floor ready to share many details about Armor 3.0 and the new ability system, or a new ability stat system, to show you some new weapons and more. Ooh, okay, so June 24th, new developer update. Everyone watching our developer stream on the Bungie Twitch channel for at least 15 minutes and with the Bungie ID linked will earn the astromancy emblem as a Twitch drop. It's a pretty sick emblem, not gonna lie. Pretty sick. Alright, Rite of the Nine continues. Guardians, the Emissary, and the Nine still require your attention. After making all dungeons available last week and turning on increased rewards for them, we are entering a new Rite of the Nine cycle. All dungeons remain active and can be played at players' leisure, but only one of them has increased rewards active, so you can go back and farm for resources and weapons if you are still chasing some of them. Why not just make all of them increased drops? So people could just go and do whatever one they need, right? Oh well. We have another update coming on July 1st. The Emissary will start giving away nonary engrams that are filled to the brim with hand-picked cosmetic rewards spanning multiple years of Destiny 2 content. Some are newer, like hollow chips, and others are a blast from the past, like Crimson Days emotes. Check the calendar below so you don't miss anything that's coming. Until June 24th, increased currency drops will be active for all dungeons. From June 24th, all dungeons are available, and one will have increased currency rewards and a chance for weapons to drop from enemy kills, as well as increased loot from the final boss chest when completing all encounters in the featured dungeon. Week of June 24th, Spire of the Watcher. Week of July 1st, Ghost of the Deep. Week of July 8th, Prophecy. Starting June 24th, the Emissary will offer a handful of exotics for players looking to round out their exotic weapon arsenal. More will be added each week through the Edge of Fate launch. From July 1st until July 15th, players can earn nonary engrams. Starting July 1st, players may purchase nonary engrams using 350 nonary manifolds at the Emissary, up to 20 during Rite of the Nine. Starting July 8th, players will be awarded one additional nonary engram each day for just for signing in. Just be sure to claim it from the Emissary. From July 8th until July 15th, Lootapalooza will begin. Increased currency rewards and weapon drops from enemies in all dungeons. Even more increased loot from the final boss chest when completing all encounters. The activity, from the average gamer's perspective, it's not unique. From somebody who just likes to hop into a game and have fun, it's not fun when it's the exact same thing over and over again. Like, you can give us increased drops and things, but it's not new. What I would have liked to see, and I know this is a lot to ask from Bungie, but if you're going to give us something that you claim to be the same size as Into the Light, which gave us a new activity with weapons that are actually good and sought after and memorable that people might not have had the opportunity to get in the previous, like that makes sense. But these weapons are just like, they feel like weapons that you can get from a strike, just with different rolls. And they have like a shiny variant, but that's not, I don't know, it's not enticing to me. If you want me to play the activity, then what you could have done was pick a dungeon, say Prophecy, since that's the one that leads up into Edge of Fate, tied with the 9 and everything. Pick the dungeon, and then every week add something to it. All right? Whether that's a new encounter or different side paths, like paths that we can go to explore different areas to get different lore drops or whatever. Different bosses, different mechanics. Like, I would love to see an evolving thing within an activity, something that changes week to week to make me want to go experience it. We'll move on. Melee damage is changing in the Edge of Fate. Hello there, this is the Destiny 2 Sandbox team, ready to talk about one of the most significant systematic overhauls coming with the Edge of Fate: additive melee damage stacking. The short version is, almost all sources of increased melee damage are buffed. All sources of increased melee damage stack at full efficiency in PvE. And we are using additive damage increase calculation for melee damage. Okay, interesting. How melee damage worked in the past. Currently in Destiny 2, most sources of increased damage in Destiny 2 are multiplicative. 2 hypothetical 50% damage increases, a 1.5 times increase to damage, are multiplied together for a total of 125% or 2.25 times damage increase. This approach to damage increases has some problems, which we know. For one, the more damage increasing effects applied at a time, the more powerful they all become, which means that the best builds and strategies can start to revolve around simply having as many buffs as possible. This is a pattern we saw in Destiny 2 prior to the mutually exclusive empowering damage buff systems for weapons. Yep. Additionally, balancing the game becomes more and more difficult the more sources of increased damage we add. We do not want to have to choose between bosses being one-shot by players who are stacking as many buffs as possible, or bosses feeling like bullet sponges to players who are not. How melee damage will work now. When the Edge of Fate is released on July 15th, melee damage increases in Destiny 2 will be additive. That means 2 hypothetical 50% damage increases will be added together for a total of 100% damage increase. Now, this does result in a lower damage ceiling for melee abilities, and it is unlikely that most bosses will ever be one-shot with melee abilities going forward. Going forwards? But because we do not need to worry about someone stacking these melee buffs and trivializing most content in the game, we can do 2 very cool things. We are buffing almost all effects that increase melee damage, some of them by double the damage they do now. Okay, so scrap everything I just said. Melee is the only way to go now. In PvE, melee damage increasing effects always stack at full value if applicable. Our goal with these changes is to make it much easier to create a personalized build that works the way you want. Many potential combinations of melee abilities and build crafting atoms are now much stronger than they were. We are very excited to see what melee builds y'all cook up in the Edge of Fate with these new changes. So I feel like the melee build that hunters have right now is just going to be better now that everything is pretty much buffed. But we'll see. Systemic updates. In this new system, every effect that increases melee damage has been converted to use additive damage stacking. Every item that has been changed as a part of this has been listed below. with a single exception. The new melee stat introduced with Armor 3.0 increases the damage of melee abilities when going over 100 points, up to an extra 30% at 200 stat. The damage bonus provided by this stat is considered to be an increase to the base damage of a player's melee attacks and abilities and is multiplicative with other damage increases. In short, if you're putting together a melee build, you'll want to get your melee stat as high as possible. Additionally, melee damage no longer scales scorch and ignition damage generated by melee attacks. Rest in peace, Titan Solar bonk builds. I don't know how that works. Oh well. The logic behind this change is similar to the logic underlying the jolt damage scaling changes we made a while back. We think it's healthier for elemental verbs to have a consistent effect regardless of the source that applied them. We have opted for a more targeted change here, and Incinerator Snap and Consecration Slam remain powerful options both as centerpiece abilities in melee-focused builds and as potent damage-focused tools in other builds. Fair enough. And I see right here they're about to talk about glaives, which should be nice, considering they also have a powerful melee attack. As a part of our melee overhaul, we are revisiting the role of glaives in the sandbox. We would like glaives to find a more permanent home in melee-focused builds, where they provide a defensive tool to help you close in on your targets and a faster and more potent unpowered melee ability than Guardians would have otherwise. That's right, glaive melee is considered an unpowered melee ability in the Edge of Fate. Okay. Anything that increases the strength of unpowered melee abilities will now increase the strength of glaive melee, including the melee stat. Oh. Okay, so glaives might be in. This does come at a cost. While glaives have a much clearer role and have a higher damage ceiling, we needed to reduce their base melee damage in PvE to bring it more in line with an unpowered melee attack. But even after these changes, glaive melee has a much higher damage per second output than unpowered melee attacks do. Yeah, they can go pretty quick. In short, if your build relies on an unpowered melee damage, glaives will be the best way to increase your unpowered melee DPS even further. Glaive melee is now considered to be a type of unpowered melee ability. They now receive melee damage increases at full effect in all cases where an unpowered melee ability would, including the damage increases from Syntheseps, Knockout, Offensive Bulwark, Combination Blow, Spark of Feedback, Worm God Caress, Banner of War, and Stylish Executioner. Oh, melee builds are going to go crazy. Glaive melee now triggers all effects that are triggered by any melee ability. Oh, they will no longer benefit from some weapon damage bonuses, such as Radiant, as it's no longer weapon damage. Effects that modify the behavior of basic melee attacks, such as the Titan Aspect Knockout that changes basic melee attacks from kinetic to arc, will not affect the behavior of glaive melee. Fair enough. Glaive melee damage in PvE has been adjusted to compensate for their increased access to melee damage increasing effects. Glaive melee damage against minors and majors has been reduced by 40%. Glaive melee damage against champions and mini-bosses has been reduced by 28.5%. Glaive melee damage against bosses and vehicles has been reduced by 50%. Dang. So they're gonna hit harder against champions and mini bosses, probably because they're like a special weapon, but I don't know why that has to do anything with the melee. Interesting that it's reduced by 40% for minors and majors, and obviously 50% for bosses, but only 28.5% for champions and mini bosses. It could make them a more viable option in melee builds for beating down champions and mini bosses. As far as an average gamer's view from this goes, that's what it's saying to me. But if you have any other thoughts or impressions, or you know more than me, feel free to comment down below, because I am not the biggest brain in the bunch. Below, check out a list of melee changes we have made to abilities, exotic armor pieces, and weapon perks so that they can shine in the new system. Be mindful that this list does not cover all the sandbox tuning plans we have for the Edge of Fate, just the melee-focused ones. We are covering exotic armor changes in a section below, and we'll share everything about weapons and abilities in a future TWID. Alright. Abilities changes for melees? Or just ability change? I can't read. Alright, all classes. Prismatic. Facet of Courage. PvE melee damage bonus increased from 10% to 50%. Jeepers. Arc. Spark of Feedback. PvE melee damage bonus increased from 75 to 100%. Now works with glaive melee at full effect. PvE melee damage bonus is no longer decreased when used with Syntheseps, Liar's Handshake, Knockout, Worm God Caress, 1-2 Punch, or Winter's Guile. Oh. So Spark of Feedback could be pretty good. Pretty good. Alright, Titans. Let's see what you got. Roaring Flames. Maximum PvE melee damage bonus increased from 73 to 200%. As a note, Roaring Flames increases solar ability damage, and glaive melee is always. We have opted to follow the rules as written for this one for now. So Roaring Flames does not scale glaive melee damage. For now. So it might change in the future. So Titans, keep an eye out for whenever this changes. Because glaives might be popping. Melee damage bonus against is no longer decreased when used with Peregrine Greaves, Worm God Caress, 1-2 Punch, or Syntheseps. Interesting. Knockout is a big one. Big one for Titans. Let's see. PvE uncharged melee damage bonus increased from 100 to 160%. PvE charged melee damage bonus increased from 50% to 160%. Increased melee damage now works with glaive melee at full effect. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that nuts? Like what the? That's crazy. Offensive Bulwark. PvE melee damage bonus increased from 100 to 160%. Increased melee damage now works with glaive melee at full effect. Melee damage bonus is no longer decreased when used with Syntheseps. Alright. Banner of War, it's another big one. Melee damage bonus for user and allies increased from 40 to 100%. Melee damage bonus is no longer decreased when used with Worm God Caress, Syntheseps, or glaive melee. The damage bonus provided to Blade Fury's melee attack is unchanged. Fair enough. So Titans, that's all you right there, okay? If you have any thoughts or opinions on those changes, let me know, because I'm not a Titan player. So I don't know. I don't know how this is going to affect your melee builds. So let me know down in the comments below. Hunter, much shorter. but we also have good melee builds. Stylish Executioner. PvE melee damage bonus increase from 200 to 300%. Now works with glaive melee at full effect. I need to start using Stylish Executioner more. Oh wait, I am. Duh. Now works with every melee ability if the ability makes contact while you are leaving invisibility. In other words, projectile melee abilities like Threaded Spike will benefit from the damage increase if you use it at point blank. Fair enough. Makes sense. Combination Blow. This is one of my favorite abilities. Maximum PvE damage bonus increase from 309%, weird, to 400%. Increased melee damage now works with glaive melee at full effect. Now works with Ascension in PvE at full effect. Now works with grapple melee in PvE at full effect. Okay. That's pretty good. Combination Blow, if used correctly, could be pretty strong. Pretty strong. Hunters, let me know what you think about these changes. I just really like Combination Blow and Stylish Executioner, but I need to use it more in PvE, like more. I don't know, but let me know what your thoughts are about these changes. Down in the comments below. Moving on. Exotic armor changes. Let's see what we got. Okay, Hunters. Here we go. Athros's Embrace. PvE weighted throwing knife damage bonus increase from 200 to 300%. Liar's Handshake and Spirit of the Liar. Okay, this is my home turf. Okay, this is my home turf. PvE basic melee and arc melee damage increased from 200 to 400%. That's pretty good. Ophidius Spathe. Maximum PvE throwing knife damage bonus increase from 100 to 200%. Triton Vice. PvE glaive melee damage bonus increase from 100 to 200%. Because this is also based off of your just base melee damage. So if you up it as much as possible, like this is going to be increased by a lot more. So maybe Triton Vice could be usable now with the glaive changes. But we'll see. Like I think it'll be good when you combine them with these. I really like Liar's Handshake. That's probably one of my go-to melee builds. But Triton Vice might also be good. It's definitely an option. All right, Titans. Here we go. Heart of Inmost Light. Maximum PvE melee damage bonus increase from 20 to 50%. Pretty good. Now increases damage of unpowered and glaive melee abilities. Peregrine Greaves. All right, here you go. Ready? Shoulder charge ability impact damage bonus against non-champion, non-tormentor, and non-mini boss targets increased from 363% to 400%. All right. Still a pretty big change. So I wonder if that includes like Guardians. Because it doesn't specify PvE. It probably is just PvE. Well, yeah, this isn't specifying PvE only. So Peregrine Greave, PvP Titans. More damage. Syntheseps and Spirit of the Syntheseps. All right, this is a big one for you. Melee damage bonus is unchanged. Woo! Melee damage bonus is no longer decreased when used with Combination Blow, Stylish Executioner, and Glaive Melee. That's pretty good. I don't know. Do Titans even have this? Is this a Titan thing? I thought these were just hunter things. Do you, I see, this is how out of the loop I am with the other classes. Like, I have no idea what they have. Like, nothing. Like, I'm exclusively hunter right now. So please, Titans, just let me know. I don't know if you guys have access to this or not. I don't know if this is a typo. It's probably not. I have full confidence in Bungie. I have no idea, but that's pretty cool. Damage bonus is still decreased against players when used with Lightning Surge. So, kind of a nerf for Syntheseps. Kind of a buff. So if you use it with these, it's a buff. Anything outside of that, it's pretty much just the same. So I'd say it's like a buff in one area and then just nothing in the others. As far as I know, I'm not a Titan player. Wishful Ignorance. Maximum PvE Frenzied Blade melee damage bonus increase from 100 to 200%. Pretty good. Maximum PvE Flechette Storm melee damage bonus increase from 50 to 200%. Damn. It's a 150% increase right there. Worm God Caress. Maximum PvE melee damage bonus increase from 275% to 400%. Pretty good. Melee damage bonus is no longer decreased when used with Roaring Flames or Glaive melee. That's pretty good. Pretty good buffs. Warlocks. You got one change. Ready? Winter's Guile. Maximum PvE melee damage bonus increase from 275 to 400%. Pretty good, Warlocks. Warlocks, we haven't talked about you yet. Let us know what you think about these changes down in the comments down below. By these changes, I mean this one change to this one thing that you guys have with regards to melee. That's pretty much it. All right. So far with these changes with melee, I think they're really good changes. I do think that melee builds in PvE are really strong. Like, I don't remember the last time Titans didn't use a straight up melee build, considering that's all they have in every situation. Hunters, I feel like in PvE, melee builds have been pretty dominant. At least for me, that's what I've been using in PvE for survivability, but also like dealing damage to everything. Warlocks, I have no idea. Warlocks are just so out of my mind right now. So I think these are really good changes. It's really going to push being up close and personal to enemies, which I think is great. Because it'll keep us from just sitting back with snipers, scout rifles, whatever, just plink plonking away. So I think these are good changes, especially for glaives. I think glaives are really going to move upwards in the usage with these changes, so people can start implementing them into their melee builds. But let's continue. Weapon changes. Weapon perks. Close to melee. PvE glaive melee damage bonus increase from 30 to 60%. 1-2 punch. Okay, this is like the melee perk. PvE melee damage bonus increase from 100 to 150%. Now works with all melee abilities. All melee abilities. Melee damage bonus is no longer decreased when used with Liar's Handshake. That's been that would get me a good shotgun. Increased the time the perk is active to 3 seconds. I don't know what it was at before, but it seems like a good second. It's pretty good. Exotic weapons. All right, Bastion. Asa, you hear me? Bastion. Look at it. Bastion. I think you'll like it. Saint's Fists. PvE melee damage bonus increase from 100 to 300%. Now works with all melee abilities. Increase the time the perk is active to 3 seconds. That's pretty good. Monte Carlo. This is also a staple for melee builds. At least the ones that don't get their melees automatically like hunters can with their dodges. But Monte Carlo, Catalyst melee attack no longer deals reduced damage to bosses, mini bosses, and champions. Okay, so there's just buffing the Catalyst melee for Monte Carlo. Okay. Winter Bite. This is the one that I don't have. Now receives melee damage bonuses from a variety of sources. Reduced enhanced melee damage with ammo to 20% versus bosses, down from 50%. Okay. It makes sense. If they're gonna buff glaives to the moon with melee and Winter Bite is like already doing a crazy amount of damage, they need to reduce the damage a little bit. But it receives melee damage bonuses from a lot of other places. So I think that's a good thing. So weapon changes. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about these changes. 1-2 punch I think is going to be really useful, especially with this change. No longer decrease with Liar's Handshake. I think a lot of more hunters are going to be using that more often. But yeah, I like them. I like my melee build, so this is going to be great. Let's continue. Exotic armor. How long is this thing? Jeepers, mister. Okay. We're getting there. Okay. Exotic armor tuning preview. We mentioned a bunch of exotic armor pieces in the previous sections, so it felt natural to go over the other exotics that are changing with the Edge of Fate. Many buffs are and reworks here and there, and just a few minor nerfs to keep things balanced and interesting. Let's see what they got. Hunter, the Dragon Shadow, and it has long felt weird how similar the Dragon Shadow and Speedloader slacks are in their effects. With both... Wait, I don't even know what this is. Probably because I've never used them. Speedloader slacks are in their effects with both centered on dodging to get stats. To alleviate some of this weirdness, the Dragon Shadow has gained many of these stats and had its perk updated to fit better with the new suite of player stats, or suit of player stats, or whatever it is. Oh, something in my eye. Oh no. My eye! My eye! Okay. The Dragon Shadow now passively increases the weapon stability and ready speed. Nice. Dodging reloads your equipped weapons. Okay. No longer reloads holster weapons. Kind of sucks, but I get it. Activating your dodge ability grants the following effects for a short time. Increased stability and handling, increased move speed, increased sprint, slide, and ADS strafe speeds, increased class stat. Fair enough. Let's see what Speedloader slacks have to offer now. With these bonuses given away, we took a more PvE-oriented approach to Speedloader slacks, allowing hunters to be able to provide a benefit akin to Lunafaction boots to their allies to be able to carry around during higher-end content. Okay, we have a team thing going on here. Let's see what they give. Speedloader slacks. Adjusted the tight fit perk. Dodging reloads all weapons and grants increased handling and reload speed for you and nearby allies. While this buff is active, additional dodges increase the strength of the buff and refresh the timer. Interesting. Dealing sustained damage grants class ability energy. Okay. So increased reload speed could be really nice, especially if it stacks. But I think hunters are going to be really using machine guns, high rate of fire stuff for sustained damage. Or like Wither Horde or something that you could just shoot and it just deals damage over time. To get more class ability energy, to dodge near allies, to give them higher reload speed, so that if they're doing something like rockets or Leviathan's breath, I don't know if that'll change it, but like things that need reload quickly, I think that these boots could prove beneficial. All right, so Speedloader Slacks, giving buffs, stacking buffs too, and refresh the timer, last longer. I think that's pretty cool. Mask of Bacchus. Okay, Mask of Bacchus has always been an evocative and visually fun exotic, but largely is used as a PvP tool. We've made some changes to let you play into the Fallen Captain fantasy even more so in PvE, while also pairing well with the new stats. It's also now usable on Arc subclasses and supers. Finally. Like, I've been wanting to use it in my Arc build, but it's just stasis. But I think this will be really good. Let's see. Mask of Bacchus. Effects are now active when either on Arc or Stasis Super is equipped. Beautiful. Reworked Light Shift. No longer provides a non-stacking surge damage bonus. Now grants a 10% damage for eligible weapons, Stasis weapons, Arc weapons, and Lord of Wolves. And Lord of Wolves. Like, I know they nerfed it, but it's always been really strong. So why? Why? Okay, that's fine. Per stack. Okay. Stacks up to 3 times. Okay, so we get like a 30% damage bonus for Lord of Wolves. And for everything else. While active, weapon final blows grant class ability energy. So you just kill everything. So you dodge, kill everything, dodge again, kill everything, dodge again. For mega bonuses. All right. Fair enough. Khepri Sting. This is one that I think could have been really strong, but it's kind of fallen off with some other abilities and things. So we'll see. Khepri Sting. Khepri's Sting has been a fairly niche PvP exotic for some time. So we wanted to rework it to something a bit more broadly useful and with more build crafting hooks. Okay. Khepri Sting. Removed automatic smoke bomb activation when using a melee attack. Great. Remove true sight when dealing damage with a smoke bomb. Dumb. Added, killing weakened targets creates a burst of weakening smoke and returns smoke bomb energy. Fair enough. So it's basically taking away PvP stuff to basically just like allow you to just over what am I thinking of? Just use your smoke bomb more often, basically. Oathkeepers. Interesting. Oathkeepers have not been quite worth the time investment to overdraw for the damage bonus, so we've tuned that a bit for some better ease of use and a higher potential payout of damage. Oathkeepers increase maximum damage bonus from 150% to 200%. Now provides more of the total damage bonus earlier in the overdraw. So I wonder, I forgot, do Oathkeepers work with Leviathan's breath? Because if so, like, how much damage can we do with Oathkeepers plus Leviathan's breath? Because with the catalyst, we're going to be pulling it back faster, activating the overdraw sooner to get more damage sooner. I think it's worth a shot at least. I don't know if it works together, but we'll see. Blight Ranger, good. This one needs some loving. Blight Rangers had a rough time. Yep, we know. It's very cool in theory just to be able to reflect all of the projectiles back, but we'll see. Blight Rangers had a rough time, with precious balance changes failing to hit the mark. Yep. Despite that, we believe that its most recent rework established a playstyle that fits the fantasy of the exotic. However, its cancellation effect still didn't feel worth the investment, especially due to a challenging bug with how its damage scaled. So we've given it a bit of extra juice. Actually, a lot of extra juice. You hear that, Cross? That's Cross. You hear that? This is for you. Blight Ranger. Fixed an issue where cancellation damage was not consistently scaling based on voltaic mirror progress. Voltaic, that's what I meant. Voltaic mirror progress. Adjusted voltaic mirror meter behavior now requires 25% less reflections to reach maximum. Nice. Feels more evenly. Blocked melee attacks now count as a reflection. Oh! So melee attacks too. Oh. So if you're being surrounded by enemies who only melee attack, such as Thrall or dogs or whatever, pop that, reflect them all, they just kill themselves. Boom. Easy. Maximum cancellation damage increased by 50%. This is an addition to the fix above. Oh, okay. Minimum cancellation damage increased by 150%. Now always applies blind before dealing damage. Very nice. Updated visuals, audio, and timing of the blinding shockwave to better reflect its impact. All right, I think this is a lot of good changes for Blight Ranger. Especially the blocked melee damage attacks now count as a reflection. I think that's going to be really good, especially if we're going against like a melee boss. I think that could be really good. Titans. All right, actually, first of all, Hunters, let me know your thoughts on the exotic changes. I think there's some really cool ones. Speedloader Slacks, I think, could be really good. Mask of Bacchus got some really nice arc changes. Lord of Wolves thing is gonna... I don't know why. Kepri String kind of lost its PvP effectiveness, especially with losing that true sight and stuff like that. But we'll see how it works. Oathkeepers could be good. Well, I want to test the damage with Leviathan's Breath. Blight Ranger got really needed buffs. Like really bad. Moving on. Titans. You ready for this? Crest of Alpha Lupi. Over the past year, we have seen a lot of love when it comes to the new additions of things like the support frame autos. With the Edge of Fate, we took a look at some of the other clearly support-oriented exotics that aren't as popular to give them a leg up to modern sandbox standards. Starting with the Crest of Alpha Lupi, we wanted to keep it subclass agnostic while letting it feel like the one-stop shop for the support Titan fantasy. Crest of Alpha Lupi added additional effects. Okay, here we go. Sustained damage while behind a barricade triggers another smaller healing pulse. Interesting. That's nice. Healing your allies grants barricade energy. Okay, so this one actually could be really nice, especially with bolt charge stuff. So I don't know if it's dealing sustained damage or taking sustained damage. I would assume it's like taking sustained damage, but that could also be really nice because you could just do the small barricade. Everyone's just up shooting their guns and dealing damage, but also getting damaged. But that'll just like heal everyone at the same time, but also giving you more barricade energy that you can pop down. There's a lot you can do, especially with the bolt charge stuff. But yeah, Titans, let me know how you feel about Crest of Alpha Lupi now. It seems pretty viable, at least from me. Phoenix Cradle. The next clear option was Phoenix Cradle. There's a lot of ways to generate sunspots, but it always felt like you couldn't create them where you wanted to maximize the effects of Phoenix Cradle. So we tackled that while also hitting a very common piece of feedback when it comes to your Cradle-enabled sunspots visuals. Very nice. Phoenix Cradle updated VFX on sunspots while the user has Phoenix Cradles to look more clearly supportive to allies. Updated VFX on sunspots while the user has Phoenix Cradles to look more clearly supportive to allies. Okay, interesting. Added additional effects. Dealing sustained solar weapon damage in a sunspot extends its duration. Providing solar buffs to allies has the chance to create a sunspot at your feet. That's very nice, because Titans have a lot of ways to spread solar buffs to allies, so I think it'd be really good. Path of Burning Steps. This one could also use some love. We liked how Path of Burning Steps played in Season of the Wish before the previous changes to this exotic. Okay. Season of the Wish before the previous changes to this exotic. To return to its glory days, gleefully frolicking with Polaris Lance. That's so funny. We added back some of its bonus damage by tying it to Roaring Flames. Path of Burning Steps. Increase solar weapon damage and solar ignition damage based on the number of stacks of Roaring Flames you have. Okay, interesting. Roaring Flame times 1, 2, or 3 grants 10, 15, 20%. Okay. So 1 is 10, 2 is 15, 3 is 20. Bonus solar weapon damage and plus 5, 10, 15% bonus damage. Bonus ignition. Oh, it's bonus ignition damage. Stacks with surge mods. Oh, Titans are going to be eating good with Path of Burning Steps. Reduces the duration of suspend, slow, and freeze effects applied to you. Oh, that's really nice that they included suspend, slow, freeze, stuff like that. Okay. So you get a little bit more survivability while also just being a walking fireball. Pretty sick. Pretty cool. Ambient Leap. Ambient Leap remains a potent choice, but we wanted to add a small nudge in efficiency that won't overtune the whole suspend kit. Ambient Leap, or Ambient Leap, however you want to say it, now increases the duration of suspend applied by enhanced Dringer's Lashes. Okay, fair enough. Just a little bit more efficiency. Actium War Rig. You ready for this? These changes to Actium War Rig go along well with the new weapon stat, giving you the option of building your loadout around the exotic to keep its new kill streak bonus rolling. Think Worm God Caress for auto rifles and machine guns. Worm Gun Caress? Of course. Just change the name already. Just Worm Gun Caress Rig. Easy. Actium War Rig. Auto rifles or machine gun final blows increase their stability, ammo generation, and damage. Stacks up to 10 times. Higher stacks counts expire more quickly. You hear that? Sweet business users in the PvP. You hear that? Stability, ammo generation, and damage. I do not look forward to hearing that noise. I'll tell you that much. Spirit of Alpha Lupi. Okay, so this is just the exotic class item version. Spirit of Alpha Lupi is also going to be inheriting one of the above changes to Crest of Alpha Lupi. Stoicism, Spirit of Alpha Lupi. Added healing your allies grants class ability energy. Fair enough. Titans, you got a lot of good buffs in here. You got a lot. Let me know your thoughts on each of these. I don't know why they didn't just tie this one up there, but yeah, just let me know your thoughts on all these changes. Oh, wait, did I cover this one? I skipped this one. I skipped one. MK44 stand-asides. Just close your eyes. Stand-asides, ironically left in the dust. This exotic lost its role with the introduction of Juggernaut and other changes that made the melee refund less valuable. We removed the melee energy refund on shoulder charge hit and the overshield while sprinting. These were replaced by more arc-centric perks that turned you and your allies into an unstoppable force. 44 stand-asides, sprinting with Juggernaut active periodically grants you a stack of static charge. Sprinting while amplified creates an area behind you that grants allies speed booster. Okay, so everyone just move fast now. Okay. Titans, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section down below. Warlock. Starfire Protocol. Okay. Let's see what warlocks get. They could just become overpowered again. Empowering damage, as it has been written on Starfire Protocol, has always felt pretty confusing. With the new world of stats, we figured it was high time to clear up this confusion and give this exotic a well-deserved boost. Starfire Protocol now also activates on radiant damage. Increase the fusion grenade energy gain from dealing damage from 2.5% to 5%. Reduced fusion grenade energy gain from final blows from 20% to 15%. Fair enough. Good trade-off. I say that's good. I don't know. Warlocks, let me know. Wings of Sacred Dawn. Blah. With the release of the other items in the game, such as the Manticore SMG, we've seen some gripes when it comes to exotics that ask the player to survive while airborne. So to give some help to Wings of Sacred Dawn, we've taken a look at just that. Wings of Sacred Dawn. Combatants are less accurate towards you while Tome of Dawn is active. This is similar to the Manticore's effect. While a Solar Super is equipped, Solar Weapon Final Blows now grant restoration and reload your stowed weapons. That's a good change. Definitely with the restoration part. It'll help you stay alive longer and give you a better option at staying alive while in the air. So, good change, I think. I don't know. Fellwinter's Helm. For many exotics, this has been hard to keep up with the difficulty progression of activities, oftentimes leading to them being great on power or lower content, but extremely feast and famine in high difficulty activities. For weapons, we can usually help remedy this with on sustained damage effects, and in this case of armor like Fellwinter's Helm, an equivalent on hit. Oh. Fellwinter's Helm. Added powered melee damage weakens targets. That's pretty good. Applies it a 15% weaken. Weaken effects applied by the burst via melee or finisher final blows are unchanged. Okay, interesting. Good change, I guess. Prometheum Spurs. In a world with so many Rift exotics, it's always been hard to make a combo Rift feel truly good for how many hoops it asked you to jump through. So with this pass, we've looked at an alternative approach to the combo Rift that will also let players hook into other atoms on the solar subclass to allow for more versatile benefits. Prometheum Spurs. Reworked the perk Embers of Light. While a Solar Super is equipped, weapon defeats grant class ability energy, and weapon defeats in a rift grant a different solar verb depending on the rift. While in a healing rift, weapon defeats create a pulse that grant radiant to you and nearby allies. While in an empowering rift, weapon defeats instead grant cure to you and nearby allies. Okay, interesting. So you basically get a damage boost while in a healing rift, or a healing boost when in a empowering rift. I like it. Boots of the Assembler. Currently, Speaker's Sight largely outclasses Boots of the Assembler. Speaker's Sight is similarly potent at healing allies, produces orbs to power your build, and doesn't require you to stand in a rift to get benefits. Plus, Boots of the Assembler's Noble Seekers are just not that smart. So we sent them to college. They now target allies more reliably, spread their healing out much more efficiently, and give a more flexible benefit when they find an ally. Boots of the Assembler. Noble Seekers no longer spawn in waves and instead spawn at a constant rate based on the fire team's size. Average number of Noble Seekers produced per 8 seconds is unchanged. It will produce 1 per ally in that time period. Okay. Noble Seeker tracking range changed to 40 meters always, from 20 to 40 meters based on time alive. Noble Seekers will prioritize allies who have not been healed in the last 8 seconds. That's very nice. Noble Seekers can now target allies standing in the rift producing them. Very good. Noble Seekers will not target an ally more than once every 4 seconds. Very good. Noble Seekers will not detonate when passing near an ally they are not targeting. Very good, very nice. They will still detonate if they make direct impact with an ally they are not targeting. Fair enough. No longer grants extended rift duration on Noble Seeker impact with allies. Instead, grants class ability energy on Noble Seeker impact with allies. Scales based on the fire team size. Very cool. Sounds like a good change. I like that they went to college and actually learned how to do their jobs. Very nice. Geomag Stabilizers. This is a good one. We enjoyed watching players shoot out beams of concentrated arc energy just as much as you all did generating them. But with the launch of the Edge of Fate, we are limiting some of that unlimited power to compensate. We took a pass at retuning its sprinting for bolt charge. Geomax Stabilizers. Reduced super energy granted by ionic traces to 4% from 7. Retuned sprinting to top off bolt charge. Decreased bolt charge stacks required before sprinting will grant additional stacks from 6 to 5. Decrease the amount of time required for sprinting to start granting bolt charge from 2 seconds to 1. Increase the rate bolt charge is granted while this effect is active from 1 every 1.5 seconds to 1 every 0.33 seconds. That's pretty good. So Geomag Stabilizers are getting a lot of bolt charge. But yeah, I think that it's really just this nerf and then these buffs that are really going to change how it functions a little, but I think it's good. Warlocks. Let me know down in the comment section below how you like these exotic changes. I think some of them are really good, but yeah, so far good changes. All right, the Final Shape Bungie rewards. We are almost at the end of the Final Shape year, but it's never too late to jump into the game. Fight against the hordes of darkness and defeat one of our biggest foes yet. Same thing for the year of content after the expansion. All content is unlocked for episodes Echoes, Revenant, and Heresy for players with the corresponding seasonal passes. As we approach the launch of the Edge of Fate, many of the Bungie rewards available that require a triumph unlocked during this year won't be available anymore. So take this opportunity not only to earn them, but also to complete your journey. Check out some of our greatest hits of the year below. Very cool, very cool. What is Echoes, episode Echoes, Bungie rewards, episode Revenant, Bungie rewards, very cool. Episode Heresy, Bungie rewards. All right, that is the This Week in Destiny. Lots of good changes, I think. Lots of systematic changes. I think they're in the right direction with changing how things work, especially with our guardians in relation to them with armor, mods, weapons, and how our character feels while playing the game. I think there are a lot of really great changes. They're really pushing for play with your own style. So I'm excited to see the rest of the changes in future TWIDs and things like that. I am worried about how the expansion content is going to feel because of these huge changes they're doing here. I know that they're really setting up for Renegades, which is going to be their big expansion because of the content that they're going to be putting into that one and less so in this one because of these changes. But I really hope that they kick it off with a bang because this one really needs more rather than less. It needs more puzzles, more secrets to discover in the world, more difficulty, more evolution as time passes. So it's not just the same thing over and over again. Because I think that's what really kind of not ruined, but it ruins the vibe of an experience within a world or a location, is when it's not evolving over time. I really liked the Dreaming City is a great example. It has a rotation for each week. And it changes the look, the feel, the vibes, the enemy density changes from week to week. I think that's a really good idea. I think with how the world is built in the Edge of Fate, I would personally like to see a world that changes from week to week. I want to hop into a world and be like, this is different. This feels different. It looks different. Like, I have to go and explore to figure out where I'm going and what I'm doing. I do like linear games too, so I like it when they point me in the right direction, but I want it to be a new experience every time. You know, that's a lot to ask from Bungie, but this is an average gamer's view, okay? I want newness. I want to hop into a game every week being like, this is a new experience. I'm excited to have new things every day. It's also like my job. Like, my job is doing the same things every day, but it's different every single day. It's a new experience every single day, you know? I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Thank you all for coming and watching. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section down below, and I will see you next week.